yet. Following is the special Arizona Racing Commission meeting held on April 5th, 2019 at 1110 West Washington, Suite 250, Phoenix, Arizona 85007. The time is... Go ahead.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Arizona Racing Commission special meeting of April 5th, 2019. Madam Secretary, if you could call roll.
Thank you. The time is 10 a.m. Commissioner Coolidge?
Here.
He's on the telephone. Commissioner Garay?
Here.
Commissioner Lawless?
Here.
Commissioner McClintock?
Here.
Thank you. We have our quorum.
All right, thank you. The first item is B, action items. 1, Cochise County Fair Association, consideration and approval of the 3-year permit to be run at the County Fairgrounds, Douglas, Arizona, fiscal year 2019, May 18th and 19th, 2019. For fiscal years 2020 and 21, it's to be determined. Mr. Director?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the division did its due diligence and did an inspection at the track and found that everything's in order, that they can run the right meet, and recommends approval.
Do we have any discussion?
No, I move we approve the Cochise County Fair Association permit for 3 years, years 2019, May 18th and 19th, 2020 to be determined, 2021 to be determined.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay. Commissioner Coolidge?
Yes.
Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless?
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right. Item 2 is TP Racing LLP, consideration of final 3-year commercial permit renewal, fiscal years 2019, 2020, and 2021. Mr. Director?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the division has completed its investigation, finalized the substantive review phase of it. There's nothing to preclude Turf Paradise from moving forward with the approval of the racing process.
I just wanted to mention on this, everyone knows a few months ago I walked out of a meeting, and the main reason why I walked out of that meeting was to bring awareness to issues like safety and to start looking at getting those addressed. And I will have to say that the track has been willing to work with me, and they are looking to do some things there. That's all I can ever ask for is continual improvement, continual looking at things, making changes. And one of the things in our racing industry right now, there is a lot of negativity out there nationwide, and even some negativity here in Arizona. And one thing I can say is when I was objectively looking at what's going on here in Arizona with what was going on with the university program in Tucson, Arizona Downs getting ready to reopen, and Turf hiring the vets to do pre-race checks, things like that. I couldn't be prouder of what's going on here in Arizona. While we do have issues to work through, we have a lot to be proud of, and I think we do have more work to do, but I think we're on the right path for those things. And I also spent the weekend, because I live an exciting life, looking through the statutes, the rules, and I could find nothing in there that would say we should deny a permit to Turf Paradise. And I don't know if any of you have done such, but I can't find anything. You could go by hearsay, you could go by innuendos, but that's not actual proof. And there's nothing I can find to deny a permit. And I know, as I had mentioned a few minutes ago, that Turf has been working with us. Vince, did you want to kind of talk about what we're going to do this summer?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Vincent Francia, General Manager of Turf Paradise Racecourse. I'm gratified to hear your words, and Turf as always does stand ready to do whatever if we see something or someone brings something to our attention. specifically what you were referencing, Mr. Chairman, one of the things over the years we've been looking at is we spend about $70,000 a year repairing potholes. Well, the potholes are caused by two factors. One is the water when they bathe the horses. The water is eroding away the asphalt. Secondly is the horse traffic. We feel we have the water situation under control and that all of our trainers now have stop valves on their hoses. So when they're bathing the horse and they're done with the water stops, and then when they need to rinse off the soap, they resume. But the other factor is the heavy traffic of horses during training, which continue to erode the asphalt. So what we're going to do and what we're going to start with, I've gone through site selection with the appropriate staff members. We're talking about talk about rows K and L, which you are familiar with, Commissioner, in the statewide area. That is a highly trafficked area, both with horses and vehicles. So we want to get the traffic, the morning traffic, off of that and get it onto a bridle path. And the site that we selected that's most doable, that's convenient and safe for the horses, will be on the north side of L Road. So how are we going to get the horses from K to L? There's already a lateral path that goes between the two roads. We're going to put in 3 more lateral paths. Now, as to the bridle path itself, that will be on the north side of L Road, so they can access it laterally and then hook up to the racetrack. It's going to be at least 16 feet wide, and that's to be mindful of sometimes horses travel with a pony horse, and we want to make sure it's safe and convenient. But we feel that by doing this, it's going to take some of a great deal of the wear and tear off of the K road, so that we don't have to deal with these potholes all the time. The two problems with the potholes are the expense, the annual expense that we put in it. But secondly, and equally important, if not more so, is it's a danger to the horses. If a horse steps in one, it could cause problems, and that affects our owners and trainers, and it affects our races. But there isn't anything at turf, and this goes on daily. A lot of communication between me and Mr. Gessman, the executive director of the HPPA, bringing things to my attention. And when I hear them, I move quickly with the appropriate staff member to get them corrected. Willing to answer any other questions the commission may have. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we have 2 people who have signed up to speak on item B2. We'll go with Steve Nolan first.
Thank you, Chair. Steve Nolan for the record. And commission members, staff, I greatly appreciate this forum to just bring awareness to this item. I'm glad I'm not burdened in your spot to have to make a decision. I feel that over the past years in racing that it's been a very tough decision at different times. And with that, I'd like to just, first I'll read a quick statement and might ask the Chair if I could defer a question to staff in a second. In 2007, I'm going to just read the last sentence in a statement prepared by the Auditor General. It says, although the department recommended the application be denied, the Racing Commission approved a 3-year permit without conditions or requirements for problems to be rectified. And as Commissioner Gorey just stated, he walked out of the meeting in January. 11 years later, these problems that weren't rectified and ordered to be rectified back then are still some of the same problems that compelled the commissioner to walk out of the meeting. And it is good to hear, it's wonderful to hear that they're being addressed. Sorry you had to go to such an extreme, but thank you for showing that there is a need. And with that statement, we see that in 2007, the commission didn't have to take the recommendation of the department. The department was to deny. And they granted it without anything to be rectified. So I wanted to make sure you understood that. In 2012, the permit was continued for 21 months. In February of 2014, the permit went to a vote, and the first 2 votes were to deny his permit. The second 2 votes were to affirm the permit. And in the original vote, the fifth vote was to abstain, meaning that the permit didn't get a majority vote. However, because of the ruckus and everything, Commissioner went back and changed his vote from abstaining to affirming. And that's how we're here again today for another permit renewal and so on and so forth. But understand, this has been a very difficult situation, and it's ongoing, safety issues. And safety issues, I think, might come up later, hopefully with the Horseman. Terrible tragedy. Some witnesses had called me about an incident just the other day concerning a jockey that was injured. Hopefully the Horsemen will deal with that. But there are still safety concerns. To allow this without these things to be rectified, because year in and year out for years September became Groundhog Day. They say they would do things during the summer. They never got done. And now we have a chance to, if you're going to recommend that he get a permit, maybe a probationary permit, to guarantee that they're done this time. It wouldn't be necessary, but the history is what it is. With that said, let's also look at the last 90 days while you evaluate this permit.
And your time's coming up, so.
Okay. In January, you walked out. A week later, we have the Arizona Downs Group ask for an Attorney General probe. A month later, less than a month later, we have legislation to abolish this commission. This commission has lost the confidence of a lot in the state. It needs to gain it back by doing the right thing. I'm glad I'm not burdened with that. It needs to be on the record. Some of these things that are current, that deal with conduct, the lawsuits of the commission. Okay. I appreciate your time. Understand there's a lot of concern. I think that you can guarantee these things get done and not just talked about. I appreciate your time, and thank you. Any questions?
Well, with regards to the one incident that happened, I think it was last Tuesday, things were addressed on that, and what needed to be taken care of was taken care of.
It's tragic, though, when it comes to this. In the past 10 years, we lost an individual out there also, Dan Philippe Harrison. Similar circumstances, couldn't be transported, wasn't able to be gotten to on time. So they're continued, and sometimes they come up again.
But yeah, I would just say, I've had my discussions with Vince and also with Jerry and also with the director, and I think going forward, you can have some faith in this commission and this department that we're going to do what we need to do to rectify going forward if there are issues and do them appropriately.
I appreciate that. And maybe you could just put that in a probationary basis. Thank you.
Thank you. And next person was Leroy. And you can't fool us. We know you're golfing today, so.
Yeah, I couldn't wear my shorts. But, Leroy Gussman, HBPA, commissioners, chairman, and staff. I just want to say the Horsemen still have great concern with some safety issues out there. We're very glad to hear about the addition of Bridle Pass. We hope that does happen. A lot of times we hear things are happening and they don't happen, so we hope this does happen. The potholes are still a very serious issue. Right now, you can go out there. It's very dangerous spots out there with water sitting in potholes. You don't know how deep they are or how bad they are, and if a horse steps in them, it's very dangerous for the horse and the rider on top of them. Also, the condition of the restrooms is still what it's always been. It's still a concern of ours. These things, they're just bad. You know they're bad. You've been in them. And the other big issue we have a concern with is the training track. The rail on the training track is barely 30 inches tall. Some horses that don't even come up to their knees. It's not safe. We had a horse get killed there last year when it tried to jump over it. It's an unsafe situation out there, especially when there's a lot of horses that get loose on the training track because they pony them on the training track. And when a thoroughbred gets loose and is running full speed, there isn't much that can stop it. It went over one fence. We had one go over a fence earlier in the year, and they did replace all that area. But overall, the height of that inner rail on the training track is barely 30 inches. That's not near high enough. I hope that some of these things can be addressed, and I hope that they will be fixed, as Vincent said. So that's all I have to say. Any questions?
And I would like to maybe, here in a few weeks, yourself, myself, and Vince, we kind of get together and talk through some of these things and see what is feasible this summer and what might have to wait, that type of thing, so that we can show the public that we are moving forward, that we do care, that we're trying to make the change that is necessary to improve our sport. And that's needed right now because the public is looking at us, and public perception is 90% of how they're going to vote or how they're going to tell their legislative members to vote. And we need to do everything we can to not only make our sport safer but change public perception.
I agree. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have interest. I have had discussions with Mr. Francia and Mr. Sims personally regarding track issues. Both have agreed that going forward, before any race meet begins, that there will be a full safety inspection done of the entire course, including the backside, which will address all matters. So that will be taken into consideration prior to each race meet.
Excellent.
Thank you for allowing me to return to speak. Vincent Francia, to re-identify myself. Let me address the two issues that Mr. Gessman brought up. One is the, not potholes, but a specific pothole that we identified, and when we went to repair it, it was bubbling up water, and we realized it's a little bit more than a pothole. A water line underneath the pothole is burst. Staff is addressing that now. Let me reference the training track. We tried to adjust it the last year during the summer and did make some progress. That is to raise the rail up. It didn't have the desired effect we wanted. This summer, one of the projects is to, what we know how to do is with the rail, there's the vertical poles, and what we do is saw them in half and put a sleeve, so that extends it up, and that will be done along the entire section that Mr. Gessman is referencing. Again, anything, Mr. Gessman and I try our best to meet every Tuesday and go over big things, little things, whatever it happens to be, and I move quickly to address them. And I want to assure the Commission that they are always welcome out there, or call me personally or whatever, when it has to do with any matter, not just safety, but any matter that I can address with the Commission. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, and with that, I'd like to go ahead and move to grant the 3-year permit, for a commercial permit renewal for fiscal years 2019, 2020, 2021 for TP Racing LLP.
Second.
Great. Can we call an executive session?
Did you want? Yes, we could do that if you want.
I think only for legal.
Yeah, I'd like to call an executive session.
Okay. Is there? I'll second that then.
So on the executive session, Commissioner Coolidge,
Yes.
Commissioner Garay,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless,
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock. Okay, that motion has carried, and the time is 10:19 a.m., and we are in recess of the first open session. Following is the second open session of the Special Arizona Racing Commission meeting taking place on April 5th, 2019 at 1110 West Washington, Suite 250, Phoenix, Arizona 85007. The time is... Okay, we're back in open session, and it is 10:27 a.m. This is Cassie Goodwin, Commission Secretary, and I'm asking everybody to please, since we were out, to please silence any cell phones, or if you must take a call, please take the conversation in the hall. Thank you. Commissioner Coolidge?
Here.
Commissioner Garay?
Here.
Commissioner Lawless?
Here.
Commissioner McClintock?
Here.
Thank you. We have our quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call Vincent back up.
To re-identify Vincent Francia, Mr. Chairman.
And I know there earlier on there was some talk about conditions and all that. That at one point in time, the commission voted on this and there was no conditions put on, and then that it was continually. I'm kind of curious if you would be agreeable to put a couple of conditions on this, like agree to a timeline when the bridle pass would be done, the rail on the training track would be done, and then I know for the pre-race inspections that would probably be done sometime mid-September, I'm guessing.
I can address them one at a time.
Okay.
Both projects, and I'm talking about the bridle pass and the rail correction on the training, they are summer projects, and the reason why they are, it's going to require heavy equipment and welding in order to do this. But I've already talked to the plant superintendent about how, when, but we have to wait until after the race meet is over. We can't have heavy equipment digging up part of the road by L Road and put in a bridle path while there's horses there, and the same thing on the training track. The horsemen use it. We can't have our people out there doing this while the horses are on the ground. So this summer, does that help, Commissioner Coolidge?
I would defer that to the horsemen and whether they feel that that's adequate and safe enough for them to be able to continue to move forward.
And the third item was the race inspections?
The inspection, and I think that would be automatically taking place mid-September, because that's about the time the horsemen would start arriving, I think. That's the pre-permit inspection.
Right. Right now, I am in the turf will see the meet through the end of the meet with the pre-race inspections.
No, I'm talking about for next year before the season gets started. That the department, the inspection, track inspection.
Oh, the track inspection. Yeah. Yes. Let's say the meet opens October 15th. The horses would come in September 15th. They come in 30 days prior to the meet. So whatever that period is, we would do this before.
In September.
Yes, in September. Sometime in September. I think the Prescott meet goes to Labor Day, so probably immediately after that ends.
And I think with the conditions here on the making sure that these are done, if something's not done come September 15th next year, we then have grounds to hold another meeting to talk about holding off on the permit at that time. So that's why we want some agreement that these things will be getting done, and that there is, if they don't happen, that there will be recourse.
Right. I can assure you that they're going to be done. I think what would be helpful to the commission to reassure the body that they are being taken care of is once we start on them, which is after the race meet, I send progress reports to members of the commission as well as Mr. Casillas on both of these projects, so you know where we are, how long we anticipate they're going to take, but they will be done.
Did you have anything to add on that, or are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
Thank you, Mr. Gessler.
I have a quick question. I can't hear
Sorry, you need to identify.
Lloyd Yother, HBPA. Commissioner, I have a question. The Director and Commissioners. My question is, I couldn't really hear. You're saying that the projects, the bridle path and the rail on the training track will be completed by the start of the meet next?
Correct.
That's acceptable with the HBPA. Thank you.
Any discussion? I think I need to amend my motion, correct?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and amend my motion to add in that the bridle path, training track rail will be completed prior to the start of the 2020 season at Turf Paradise, and that a pre-permit or season inspection will be done by the department, with them reporting back to us as to their findings.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Aye.
I'm sorry, you're voting on the amendment at this point?
Right.
Okay.
The full motion.
Well, we're
with the
voting on the amendment and then
Then you vote on the full thing?
full thing. Yeah, we have to vote on the amendment and then.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Okay. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, Commissioner Coolidge,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless,
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock.
Yes.
Okay, the vote on the amendment carries.
All right, then now we need to do the vote on the motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Madam Secretary?
Thank you. Commissioner Coolidge,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless,
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock.
Yes.
Thank you. That carries.
All right, thank you. I did want to just add one comment, since it was brought up a couple of times about the meeting I walked out on, especially since a few people are wearing shorts here because they're going to be going golfing. And I was out golfing a couple of weekends ago with a friend, and he said, when I die, my tombstone should say, this was one meeting he couldn't walk out on. Anyway, so the next item here is a summary of current events affecting the Arizona Racing Commission. Is there anything for that item?
No, sir, not at this time.
And item 2, identification of matters to be placed on future agendas. There is one item I would like to start having some maybe further discussion with the committees as to what we could do going forward to raise money for ex-racing horse adoption. See if we can come up with some ideas to help out there and help out the horses get adopted, that type of thing. All right, and call to the public. Was there anyone else?
No, sir.
Okay.
I have one thing.
You got a tea time. You should be shutting up.
I know, I'm late, so I can get that. Lloyd Yother, HPPA. I'd like to apologize to the commission and the director and staff that we didn't announce our benefit for the chaplaincy at Turf Paradise, and we need all the participants that we can, so we'll make sure that you are invited next year, and if you can make the tea time at 1 o'clock today, you're still welcome. So, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, the next regular meeting will be here in the same place at 10 a.m. on Thursday, April 25th, 2019. And I will just announce now, I will be on the phone, so you will be having to chair that meeting.
Okay.
And then I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Coolidge,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless,
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock.
Yes.
Okay, it's 10:36 and this meeting is adjourned. It's adjourned. It's adjourned.